Okay, so on top of the yen pairs, I wanted to ask you guys in terms of indices. I'm being a little selfish here because I do have a trade open on the S&P 500 myself. Any thoughts on indices? Tom, maybe I'll ask you about the S&P 500. You want to share any thoughts you have on maybe S&P?
Yeah, cool. So, yeah, I'm looking at the weekly, guys. Always start with the weekly. You know, we're clearly finding a level of resistance here. Yeah, so price is, currently reacting at this level. I would say the market's ranging.
Sure.
Yeah, currently. Yeah,
it's been in a nasty range. And sorry to cut you off, Tom.
No.
Part of the reason for those of you who are unfamiliar with maybe the indices so much, right now we're going through earnings season, which is of course where companies report the earnings. And so far, it would marry up with what you're saying there, Tom. It's been very choppy. We've had good reports, bad reports, it's back and forth. Carry on, keep going.
And yeah, and just the market in general, I think there's been so much indecision. Are we entering a recession? Will the interest rates, ever sort themselves out? There's a lot of indecision, I find, with the indices, and it's playing out as you can see. So, if this range was to hold, yeah, we could take shorts back down to this grey zone, but this is obviously a very, higher time frame view. Let's take a look at the day chart, see what that is telling us. And for me to short this pair, I would be looking from shorts up here, but I would need a break of this zone here. I need a break of this through here. Yeah, once we get a break of this level, yeah, we therefore have a structure changed, then I'll be happy to look to take price lower.
Sure.
But I would need a breakdown in daily structure to do that. So
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I would be looking at for the S&P.
Yeah, thanks on that. No, and I think it's a fair point. I have a close friend that I have traded with for a long time. It's not actually Frank, although Frank, you guys know him and love him. He's also one of my close friends that I've traded with. But another one of them, he was making the point that this is an excellent sort of swing trade environment for stock traders because inherently we've had so much back and forth. People have been making a lot of money long and short on stocks because, again, they keep going back and forth. There hasn't been any sort of clear decisiveness ever since the turn of 2023, really, where stocks have been up, they've been down, and there's money to be made there, especially if you're a range-bound trader. And some of those technical ideas that you shared, Tom, there, like waiting for sort of, you're at a weekly level of resistance, but it starts breaking support on the lower time frames. I love that, and I think that that's been working very well in this environment. Ivan, I'll take it to you. S&P, what is your thought on the indices today?
This is the last week to take advantage of the massive 40% off sale on the EdgeFinder. And don't wait any longer because this is the lowest price that it'll be all year. The EdgeFinder is a revolutionary trading software that combines fundamentals and technical trading all in one to help you find better trading entries. This is the same software that all of our expert traders use while scanning the markets. As we strive to make the EdgeFinder the best trading tool of all time by updating and upgrading it regularly, you'll never have to worry about paying for anything because the EdgeFinder is a one-time payment for life. So what are you waiting for? Get it at the lowest price of the year before it's too late. To get access to the 40% off discount, make sure you use promo code A1YT at checkout. If you have any questions about the product or sale, click the chat with us link down in the description below to automatically get connected with one of our team members right now. Remember, promo code A1YT for a huge 40% off discount on the EdgeFinder ending very soon.
Different from yesterday. It's I feel like we're at end of something, end of pricing in FOMC, end of a seasonality, end of the trend, end of whatever. Unless I see higher highs, I think this has got to pause, going lower a bit until we have FOMC, until we have a brand spanking new direction. I think this one is going to be very hard to trade. Yes, you have bought it very high, I would argue, but the only way I'm going to go long on this one is if it makes a higher high. So unless it will probably come down to 38.80 would be nice. More profits again.
Yeah, no, and to give you, I'll just share my screen for a second, share my take on it. I think to your point, Ivan, as much as I am I'm currently long, I would say that there is that scary potential that if there is any signals of further rate hikes this year, if inflation is expected to be more than expected, more sticky than expected, that downside on the S&P 500 is creepy. So I do have my stop loss in place for that purpose. If we break this support structure to the downside, I'm going to be completely out of my trade, and I'll take my loss. I'll take it on the chin, kind of thing. But I'm watching the Federal Reserve upcoming meeting. May 3rd will be a big day for indices, for everything really, bonds, stocks, indices. Currencies. So it will be very interesting to watch. My sort of bullish case on the stock market, I mentioned it to you and Frank yesterday, Ivan, is, stock earnings. I would say that you kind of have this upper threshold and lower threshold where good and bad, right? You have, in terms of expectations are all so bad from many analysts, from many Wall Street forecasters and things like that. It seems like sentiment is very, very bad. Whereas what we're actually landing in, I mentioned it to Tom, it's sort of more in the middle where it's like mixed. And my opinion, the market's been expecting this. And so that's why it's holding up decently here. Earnings coming out half decent has sort of a bullish case. Because again, people were expecting, with potential recession on the curb, on the cusp of terrible economic situations, we could see massive sell-off in stocks. Well, we have not been getting that. In my opinion, that is a bull case in itself, as the market's been so negative. Anyways, that's my take on indices. I want to move on from that and maybe go to pound pairs. Simply Forex, Mr. Tom, do you have any pound pairs that you're watching? Do you have a favorite GBP pair you want to tell us about?
I was looking at pound New Zealand today. This was potentially one of my trade ideas from this morning. And again, it's just a weekly high play. Yeah, and just for a bit of a retrace at those highs. And when I say a retrace, it depends what time frame you trade and and what your short-term or long-term view is. But I tend to be an intraday trade, so I can pick up quick profits, so I can trade this against trend. That's okay for me. It might not be for others, but I'm fine with that.
Well, that's why we're here. We're here to have different opinions. It makes for better content. I think it helps the people at home a little bit more. So pound New Zealand, you're talking off the weekly chart. Tell us a little bit more.
So we're at these weekly levels here. Yeah, we're at this weekly high. It's a similar play to the euro yen I just showed you as well. So yeah, this weekly level here is obviously a keyed level, and you can see the price is very overbought. Yeah, you don't need an oscillator to tell you that it's overbought. So if we go down to the day chart now, we just want to see, if I put a grey zone through here, a resistance zone, we just want to see price break down from this level, basically, guys. That's all I look for, is once price is at an important level, I just look for a breakdown in structure. And I think we could take price back down to this level here. So, yeah, day chart. Sorry, that was the day chart. Back down to the H1. I would be looking for... sorry, guys, I'm moving my charts around like a maniac.
No, you're good.
I would look for potentially a retrace back into here. Yeah, and then to look to take price back down to this level. So that's what I would be looking for on pound New Zealand. Just a bit of a retrace against trend again.
Sure. No, and I think, again, this is why, Tom, we're doing this. I think it's cool to have different strategies and different opinions in the same room together. And I think that's, you have your strategy, you have your approach. You're looking at weekly levels, you're looking for, and then you're looking to watch for signs of resistance, signs of price action on the lower time frames. I think that's really smart. And I want to ask now, we'll put Ivan on the spot because I know he is very short biased on NZD specifically. I don't think you would disagree though that pound New Zealand, up at this point, like 1,400 pips on the weekly chart from the lows there. I would say, would you think it's a little bit overbought, or are you looking for breakouts, Ivan?
I think I'm looking to buy it. And I know it's
Good,
high.
good.
But YOLO! Yeah, it is definitely an aggressive trade, and it's less than 10%. But I have 10% lot size on it, meaning 10% of normal. So yeah, I definitely agree. I don't know if I want to short it though, but yeah. So I just bought it.
Well, and this is the tricky part about markets, because sometimes you get something that's overbought and then it just keeps going. So I think, to both of you guys' points, watching for the lower time frames for confirmations for price action is really important, especially if you are going to be going against the trend. You really have to make sure you're getting those confirmations, and Tom is giving those examples well. I would say being very cautious to watch for on the lower time frames, something to actually marry up with the trade idea. So,
and typically I will generally trade with trend. It's just that when they're at very overbought levels or oversold with a weekly support or a weekly resistance, then I'm willing to go against trend, but only then.
Chandler, roll us a breaking news, because we've got stuff just in. Very, very cool, guys. So we've got CB consumer confidence coming out here. We had 101.3 compared to the forecasted 104.1. And in terms of what this is, CB consumer confidence, it measures the level of composite index based on surveyed households. It's a survey of about 3,000 households, which asks respondents to rate the relative level of current and future economic conditions, including labor availability, business conditions, and overall economic situation. So with this coming out less than expected here, let's go take a quick look at the dollar and see how this is reacting. So again, for those of you watching the US dollar today, we do still have this thing kind of pushing up higher now, coming into what we would consider a pretty strong level of resistance. Interesting to say the least. It now looks like a CNN channel. Oh, I don't know if we're not trying to be CNN. We're not trying to be Fox. We're just trying to be A1, just doing our thing. no politics, anything like that. Guys, do you have any reaction in terms of this CB consumer number coming out? Any thoughts, Ivan? What do you think?
I hope I'm not getting fired today, though.
Tucker Carlson. No firings today.
It's all right. It's not too bad. There is a deviation in the consumer confidence, though to the lower side, which is kind of expected. So it goes into my pool of fundamental indicators that looks a bit more dim every day. So probably less bullish on S&P then.
Sure. And yeah, so again, let's just take a quick look in terms of things that are moving. You've got the S&P pulled up, the S&P selling off a little bit here. And then, of course, the dollar flying high into this level of resistance will be very, very interesting to watch if this level can hold, or if it's going to break back into this range, which, to be honest, I'm hoping that it doesn't. It was stuck and very boring to commentate on all last week. We finally got the breakout. Let's see if we can actually get the hold. I would say right now, if you're watching the dollar, this is either going to be a great spot where it continues lower, or it's just going to be a very boring story back into Chop City. So I would say, my opinion, I think that it is a sell on the rip here. Possibly looking at things like euro dollar long pullbacks. You've got pound USD also. Look at this. Actually, let me go back to wow, this is interesting. The euro came just up to this zone of resistance, barely said hello. It waved in passing, and then it fell back down. So amazing how the charts are moving here this morning. We had a breakout, moved right up to resistance, and then found sellers there. Any thoughts on the euro? Tom, what are your thoughts on the euro here today?
Okay, well, weekly, yeah. I mean, those highs are holding on the weekly chart. So again, I would look for a retrace and then potentially for buys back to this level, because it's clearly, still in an uptrend. Yeah, what else am I looking at? If we look at the day chart as well, yeah, to be honest though, if we're going to break this level, I think we can carry on with longs as well. But currently we're seeing a huge reaction, lots of US dollar strength. So let's see what it does back down at this level. So it's a difficult one to trade right now. Yeah, we've got this selling pressure from up here, and we've also got this daily structure uptrend, and we've got buying pressure. So it's just tricky to trade at the moment.
Tom, I liked your point about the previous high you mentioned briefly. Like, if that were to break to the high side, you may see continued buying, especially from, you know, momentum traders like myself and maybe some of the audience. I love that idea on the euro. And to your point, also this rejection here today, pretty concerning, right? That's a lot of dollar strength coming in very, very quickly. And I kind of like that idea of waiting for a break and retest on the euro and other pairs as well. So
if it starts breaking these lows, then has a bit of room to the downside. But difficult to trade right now.
Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want our broker recommendation, access to our free Discord, free EdgeFinder, or want to chat with us on Telegram. Remember, you can watch us live in the markets every morning starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we have lots more free trading tools and content available on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching.